I think the reason that my career went the way that it did is because, one, I never wanted to leave Toronto. I was much more interested in working with my friends and doing things that I thought were interesting.
Let's try it.
Okay, I'm walking up right now.
Well, hello there. Hello. What's going on? No, no, no. Yes. Walk, walk, walk. Walk,
Don't
walk,
say
walk.
walk, walk. You can't say walk, walk, walk as I'm walking.
That's right.
We just come out of film school, we were all kids, and certainly the types of cameras we could get our hands on were not Aeroflex cinema cameras. What we could get was handy cams and cameras that at the time, there was a camera called the DVX 100 and then an HVX 100 or maybe an HVX 200. And they were light and they were cheap enough that lots of film students could get them. And they had these amazing zoom lenses on them because the digital sensor, what you'd call like the cinema gate, like the size of the gate was so tiny. A lens that was only about this long could zoom to insane lengths. And whereas a lot of, if you were trying to pretend to be a Hollywood filmmaker or try to make something look cinematic, that really wouldn't help you at all because real movies aren't doing zooms like that, ever. It's ridiculous. But for us, it was like, oh, we can really use this tool to do something interesting. And so our influences were much more documentaries, especially like news documentaries where they can't believe what's happening and they're trying to get you only got one shot at getting it.
Our movie is about two students in a school who get bullied by this gang called the Dirties, and so they decide to take revenge on them. They snipe them from a long way away.
That Dirty with the green bandana should be a tough show.
Your first feature, you should take a long time doing it. You got it because you have to get it perfect. The number one resource you have is time. You don't have money, you don't have experience, you have no talent, and you have no tools. Like you have nothing. But what you have is more time than any professional. All professionals are on a deadline. You are not. And so there's that cliche that you can make something fast, good, or cheap. And if you just take out fast, it means you can make things that are quite good and cheap, provided you're willing to spend all your time on it.
You guys gotta make some changes.
We shot the Dirties over the course of a month initially, but after that month of shooting was done, we went back and reshot things and added things for, I would say, a year. And the editing of the movie probably took a year and a half. And then preparing the movie, like writing it, thinking about it, was probably at least a year or more before that. So I think really, I finished making the web series Nirvana the Band the Show in 2009, and I would have started making the Dirties maybe 6 months after that. So it's about 4 years, yeah, before it was released. But I don't consider that, you know, a long time for a first feature. Your first feature really does need to do something interesting and stand on its own two legs. And I was extremely lucky that the Dirties did, but if I can attribute that to anything, it's that we did not ever consider it good enough. Like we kept working until we thought it met our own standards.
Yeah, what can I do for you?
Okay, picture a cell phone and an email machine all in one thing. There is a free wireless internet signal all across North America and nobody has figured out how to use it. It's like the Force. Sorry, have you seen Star Wars?
No.
There are millions of challenges on Blackberry, not the least of which is like, how do you shoot something that seems authentic with a huge crew of 40 people everywhere? Like that was a nightmare to figure out. And then how to get actors who are used to having rehearsals and very specific lines and marks to play in this new space where you're trying to make it seem like anything could happen and it's total chaos. That was a challenge, but to their blessing, all the actors in the film, and I mean all of them, understood it, and after 1 or 2 takes, they got it and were willing to play.
That guy is sketchy.
I don't think it's sketchy.
The guy's a shark.
I know how to market it, and I know who we can sell it to. But I want 50% of the company, and I've got to be CEO.
I don't know who you think you are, but deal. Are you joking?
Trying to write something, because all my films, in the past have been completely improvised. And then having a script on this movie that we needed to hit because the information was so technical. It's about such a specific time in history and the characters need to say certain things to get to the next scene. I know this sounds so pedantic and stupid, but these were things that I never faced before. And it was hugely challenging because in the past, if I shot a scene and it was boring for whatever reason, I would just cut the whole scene out. And I'd be like, whatever. And then I'd shoot another scene to fix it. And that's how all my work has been made up to this point. On this, I couldn't reshoot anything because the actors all flew back to Los Angeles. But we solved it by overwriting every scene. So the actual runtime of the Blackberry movie is probably closer to 4.5 hours with everything strung back to back. And Matt Miller and I, my co-writer, I think we're prescient in doing that because we knew we were going to cut tons of shit out. And so we just overwrote the whole thing and then cut out everything that we didn't like. But if everything had been good, yeah, it would have been a 4.5 hour movie.
What do you call it?
It's called a Blackberry.
Try typing with your thumbs.
Working with actors was a huge change. I had never done it before. I learned very quickly that most of my job on set was managing the expectations and the psychology of the cast because they were in a very exposed environment where the cameras were rolling most of the time and they were always wearing wireless mics and they needed to feel quite comfortable, especially Jay, to do the things that he did towards the end of the film where he was really trying to get at something real and honest and he was being annoyed and he was being diffident. He had to be quite exposed to do that. And so a lot of my job was dealing with the psychology of these guys who became my good friends in order to get them to feel comfortable going to these places. And that's something I never would have expected. But I enjoyed that a lot. I love actors and I really love comedians because they, like me, are like a little bit, naughty. Like they like to get away with things and they like tricks and I think they like the game of filmmaking a lot.
Doug, come with us, sir.
No. You want to be great, you need to sacrifice. And the more painful the sacrifice, the greater you'll be.
I know that a lot of people would look at my career and be like, oh, this guy is a joke or a total failure, more likely. But I truly feel as though I'm like one of the most lucky people in the world. I would love to continue making films in this style with my close friends in Toronto in the way that we all like. I love it. I feel like it's almost like cheating in a way.
We are calling it by phone. In the middle of a hostile takeover!
Being here at the festival, I've loved it. It was absolutely mind-blowing. And I've made a few observations as to why I think the Glasgow film audience was so responsive. And I have had some theories, and I'll share them with you. Okay. 1, Canada was founded by all Scottish people. I think that our culture has a kind of afterglow of Scottish culture. And I think that there is a mindset in my films, and in Blackberry specifically, that resonates with the kind of underdog, scrappy, never say die attitude that I've seen in a lot of the Glasgow filmmakers that I've met. It is nothing like I've seen in other parts of the world screening my films, and it's been extremely gratifying, and I loved it. It's amazing, yeah.
You said they were the best engineers in the world.
I said they're the best engineers in Canada.
What are they paying you?
I shouldn't say.
They're paying me $10 million.
Yeah, me too.